Hello and welcome to Make It Happen episode number 21. And today in the Make It Happen studio, I have Natalia Geiger. Natalia is a self-confessed nature lover and adventurous of life. She loves to laugh, learn and connect with others through authentic, heart-centered conversations. Hi, Natalia.
Hi, Allie.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So for the people who haven't met you yet, do tell us a bit about you.
Well, I'm half Spanish and half American, and I'm a professional transpersonal coach who partners with individuals and leaders in organizations as well, who want to live and work from a higher level of consciousness with more courage, more authenticity, more fulfillment, and more efficiency.
Okay, so how did you end up becoming a transpersonal coach?
Well, it wasn't in the plan. It wasn't. I was working in New York in the corporate world, and I had an injury which got complicated. And long story short, I wasn't able to walk for 5 years.
Wow.
And yes, and that experience, it just threw my whole life around, as you can imagine. And it also served as one of the greatest trainings I've had, now looking back to, that has allowed me to do the work that I do with people nowadays. And what happened is that fairly long pause after the first year, I started to realize that it was my body, my being telling me that a change was needed. And what I found in my heart is that I wanted to contribute to people's lives and to organizations based on my own journeys that I've had of transformation and the difference that I know that it can make when that inner shift happens at all levels.
And your life is very much about helping other people transform their own lives. How do you feel your experiences helped you more to do that within you yourself personally?
Yes, well, for me, there's been two major transformation phases in my life, to summarize it up. The first one was when I was fairly young. My father passed away, and that derailed me into experiencing anxiety and depression and those types of things. And that was my first real awakening call. All of the things that I was trying, from therapy, medication, alternative therapies, weren't really working. And I reached a point where it felt like I was invited to, okay, you can continue this path of feeling ill and sick and defective and believing that that's going to be the case for the rest of your life, or really owning my creative power, really, that I am always at choice regardless of the circumstances. And that's the same when the foot thing happened and I couldn't walk. It was life like putting me really to the test. Let's really see if what you've learned in that first phase, what's really integrated way beyond theory and concept, but that it's become a part of you and that you are then ready to pass it on to other people. And that's, again, in that phase, when the shift happened, although I was told I probably wasn't going to be able to walk by several doctors, the shift happened when I owned that I am the creator. And I started to change how I related to the circumstances. And I learned there in that experience very deeply that that's how we actually then create new circumstances.
That's great advice for other people that are going through similar life crisis that they, you know, they didn't anticipate it, something has happened and it wasn't something that they had thought would ever happen. So that's really great advice, to try and look at it in a different way. You're very, everybody can see your beautiful smiling face. So you're a very happy person now. What does happiness actually mean to you?
Oh, it has transformed so much. Nowadays, happiness to me means feeling fulfilled, feeling on purpose. It means knowing how to cope and manage the unpleasantness in life. And those moments of joy that happened sometimes unexpectedly, sometimes through choice, in each present moment.
Okay, yeah. Who or what is your main source of inspiration for your happiness? Do you have someone that inspires you the most?
I have a couple. I would say my mother is the first one that comes to mind. After my father passed away, she went into a very deep depression, and she was the first one to, through someone that guided her in the process, was able to start making that shift from feeling victim of the circumstances to how can I use this to create what I want from now on. And her example really impacted my life, because you can't not see the light. So as she became more radiant, something in me was like, okay, so I think it's my turn to really stop searching outside for all the answers and really start looking within.
And the other person?
The other person is a person that's called Alicia Maria Escobar, which is the person that helped me in my most darkest moments in that first phase. She told me that if I chose to see myself as someone who had chronic anxiety and that was going to be it, then that's what it would be. And I could also choose to understand that that was a result of something within me that just needed my loving attention, and that through the healing that takes place when we do that, that would dissolve. And her trust in me, in my own inner power, was life-changing as well.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that. You've lived in lots of different places around the world. Do you think that has coloured your view on life?
Yes, absolutely. It's through the years, it's opened my mind and it's opened my heart. It's made me more tolerant, and it helps me at work, especially in organizations, because of the diversity that nowadays can be found. And so the understanding of different cultures and how we're all influenced so much by our surroundings and the way we've been brought up, I have found that it's been really enriching, personally and professionally.
Okay. And you've got some plans for 2019, which fit really with you living in other places around the world. So what would they be?
Yes, well, my biggest plan right now is to start spreading my conscious leadership work in Spain. It's starting a bit of a challenge, and that's a good thing because that drives me. Yes, that's one of the biggest objectives. And then to spread my personal work too, for individuals that are ready to step into the best version of themselves, to learn how to access that creative power, and to really choose and take action in the direction of what they want their lives to really be like.
Okay. Earlier on, we talked about people that had inspired you. Has there been a book that has inspired you so far this year? Or generally?
Not this year. There is a book that immediately comes to mind as you ask me that.
Okay.
Two books. One is The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And the other one, Loving What Is by Byron Katie. I introduced her work into my work, and it's been a great move.
Okay. So what is it particularly about those books that have inspired you?
Well, the first one came to me at the right time. When I was starting to begin to comprehend the idea that maybe I'm not my thoughts, all of my thoughts all the time. And it really struck me and made me to begin to cultivate that inner observer, create a bit of space between my story and my drama and my essence and the part of myself that can observe that and be at all times a choice of how I respond to it. And Loving What Is, it really helped me through those 5 years, since a big part of the inner work that I was forced to do in order to overcome that challenge was to accept that those were the circumstances in that moment and to stop resisting them and fighting it, which was only creating more pain and more suffering. It actually, interestingly, Allie, it's when I really got to that inner place of full surrender and acceptance and I even began working here in Spain despite the injury. That's when it all started shifting physically. And I was able to, I work now, I run, I wear heels, as if it never happened.
Okay. Yeah, amazing. And you mentioned earlier on you have a superpower. So what do you think your superpower is?
Well, that's a really good question. I might have more than one. I believe we all have more than one. One that, based on what we're talking about, would be my ability to be able to perceive and notice when someone is not living their authentic self or not living from their heart or not living their vision. And my way of inspiring that person so that they actually step into their own creative power and begin to change that.
Okay. That's an amazing ability to have, to link with, connect with people in that way. What would be your advice to the younger you?
So I would summarize it like this. Every single experience, Natalia, that you're going to have is necessary for the evolution of your consciousness. You're going to know that you're having the experience you need to have because it's the one you're going to be having. So you can relax, sweetheart, and trust it's all going to be okay.
I think we could all have that as a mantra. So if I waved my magic wand, my make it happen magic wand, what will you be daydreaming about?
I think I'm going to mention the spreading the conscious leadership work again. That's from the previous work I've done in organizations, before even being a coach, there is such a need for a shift in the workplace so that there are places where we can also experience well-being and fulfillment, and access our creativity, and together create a much more conscious, kinder, collaborative world that will serve us all. So that's my big dream.
Okay. If people can help with your big dream, or they want to use you for their own big dreams, what's the best way for people to connect with you?
Either on social media, or they can email me at Natalia Geiger Coach at gmail.com. I also have a website, and they could also contact me on there.
Okay, and your website address is?
www.nataliageiger.com.
Perfect, good. Well, thank you, Natalia, for being our Make It Happen guest today. We've really enjoyed the chat with you. You do have a very inspirational story. I was very fortunate to sit next to you at an event recently, and we connected and had a really interesting talk about your experience and your life and where you are now. And I'm delighted that you're just up the road from me. So it's...
Yes, me too.
Connect.
Yes, thank you so much, Ali, for the time with you. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Natalia. Bye.
I wish you all a great day. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you're a woman who's living in Spain or a woman who's thinking about moving to Spain, come and join us at costawomen.com. It's completely free to join. Please also come and follow us on YouTube or listen to our recordings via Spotify. Just look for Costa Women Make It Happen.